Hey guys, and welcome back to this place. If you are new, then welcome here for the very first time. I am Carmen, and today we are watching the finale of season 1 of Battlestar Galactica. We have made it to the finish line for this season. Obviously, there's a lot of show left to watch. I'm curious as to if we're gonna get a good old-fashioned cliffhanger, what questions we might get answered, and what new questions then will be posed if those questions are answered. I'm curious what's going to happen on the surface of Kobol, what they'll find there, because obviously Gaius and quite a few other people, were just hurtling towards it. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. Curious if Kara is going to find the spear of Apollo and the tomb of Athena, and like where all of that is gonna go, like what's gonna happen, because they're surrounded by Cylons right now, and Kara, who had like the only hope of sort of penetrating their defenses because of her cloaking device, is kind of not really accurate, but she's essentially behind enemy lines in her little Cylon raiders, so she was the only hope, right? I'm curious about Gaius's true feelings towards Starbuck and his true feelings towards Six. That's going to get explored. I'm going to stop talking because clearly it's not what I'm doing best right now, and let's just get right into the season finale. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens with Sharon and Boomer. Apparently you guys have informed me that we don't call Caprica Boomer because it's confusing. He did shoot her, which I did not approve of, but also understand.
What did you say?
A dome-like structure with 6 roads leading out of...
But it looks different. Like she saw something that wasn't really there anymore, right? Kobol, right? Yeah. Raptor 1 crash site. Okay, the chief's there. Caitlin is her name, I think, right? Gaius. Oh, is he alive? Hopefully everybody lived. That thing's probably gonna blow though, so y'all do need to... Oh god, hurry, hurry. Everybody out, everybody out. Come on. Gaius, Gaius. Grab his hand.
Take my hand.
If it helps you to see it, see her, go ahead.
Gaius, take my hand.
Yank. Yank him out, yank him out. It'd be so funny if he like tried to kiss that guy. Okay, he's not actually doing that.
Hey, come on, wake up!
I mean, I think she's actually there talking to him, but... This is the dangers of having civilians where they should not be. In situations they should not be in. Almost got that guy killed. I wonder why he was staying in. Like, is he in shock? Is he disoriented? Is he a little bit not wanting to survive? I'm guessing shock and like trauma, because obviously that would be a horrifically traumatic thing to go through, just hurtling towards a planet and then landing, and then yeah, so that's my guess. Interesting too that Six was all in white. Obviously she's worn different colors throughout the show, usually in the more seductive scenes red. She's worn like the sparkly silver, she's worn black, I think. She's probably worn white before too, but I just don't specifically remember. But I say it's interesting that she's in white because I think that there's definitely purity, religious sort of iconography in regards to God and that Christianity that have to do with white.
It's a museum, so what?
The home of the heir of Apollo.
Okay, so Starbuck is gonna see them, right?
It's supposed to be the only clue as to the location of Earth.
What are you talking about? Who's going to Earth? It doesn't even exist. I'm trying to get back to Galactica.
Galactica's going to Earth, bud.
Just shut up for a change.
Honestly,
You're only alive because I've kept you alive. So if I were you, I would take that tough guy attitude of yours and shove it up your ass.
Tell him, Sharon. Here for her, honestly. Honestly, I understand both sides. Like, I'm not hating on Hilo because I understand his reaction. But, like, also, she's literally a Cylon, which you know. She could have killed you any number of times already. You would have never even realized it was coming. I feel like that should extend a little bit of trust. That's what I'm saying.
No one coerces Starbuck.
Huh?
Believe me, I've tried.
She was coerced. Maybe you just didn't use the right motivation, but...
Madam President.
Save some time here, Commander. The question you really want to ask me is whether or not I asked Lieutenant Thrace to take the raider to Caprica. The answer to your question is yes.
I figured she would admit it.
We both decided it was a military decision.
You decided.
My responsibility as president to protect this fleet and its future.
By taking the raider,
She's
you've
not
placed
wrong.
our people on the surface of Kobol in direct danger.
I am also deeply aware of the danger this civilization will be in if I ignore the pursuit of this arrow.
Again, I can see both sides. They just have different perspectives on how to save everybody.
I'm going to have to ask you for your resignation, Madam President.
No.
Then I'm terminating your presidency.
It's not a military state.
I will exercise the authority of this office until I am unable to do so. If you want to stage a coup, you're going to have to come over here and arrest me.
I don't want any blood shed.
Of course you don't, neither do I. Neither does the press.
Ooh, that's a
They're
threat.
here, by the way.
Ooh, that's a threat.
They're recording every minute.
She is smart. Legit a little terrifying, but honestly, I'm so here for her. The thing is, military state, bad idea. Military should not be the top of any government ever.
Order the cap to isolate Colonial 1. Mr. Gaeta,
Sir.
jam any transmissions in or out of Colonial 1 immediately. Prepare a strike team.
No.
As long as she's president, she's dangerous.
No.
If you can turn Starbuck against us, she's capable of anything. She's bluffing.
There's also a Cylon base ship out there to deal with.
Yeah.
Leave that to me.
Okay, let's.
If the government survived a Cylon attack, it will survive William Adama. I think he's bluffing.
This is dangerous. He's not bluffing.
They will defend that ship. We'll have to take her down compartment by compartment.
Am I correct in assuming that I have 2 silent transponders left?
Only one of them's fully functional.
One will do. Now I need a pilot.
Is he? What's he thinking?
How you feeling?
It looks worse than it is, sir.
I mean, it looks like you shot yourself in the face. I don't know how that could be worse than it is.
I have a very special mission for you. It's high risk. Extremely high risk.
Is he trying to pretend that the president is a
I need
Cylon?
you to light jump to Kobol and take care of this base star. Placing a Cylon transponder aboard your Raptor.
Okay.
It should allow you to approach the base star without getting fired upon. You have to fire your nuke into the loading bay.
I can do it, sir.
Okay, so he's not doing what I thought he was doing, which thank God, but interesting. Is this his strike team? You okay? There you go. There's Caprica.
Oh, I'm good. I am really good. I'm home.
I bet that would be such a, like, bittersweet feeling, you know? Silence. Okay, but that's okay. You look like one of them. You know what's terrifying is they have that many Cylons still on Caprica and all the ones that are following the Galactica.
Things scare me, Hilo. I have feelings.
You have software.
What we had between us, it was very important.
Why?
Because it was a next step. Because it brings us closer to God. And I genuinely feel something for you.
She does. I believe her. I believe Cylons are capable of that.
I don't love you.
All right.
Though I think there's something else that you should know.
Is she pregnant?
I'm pregnant.
I knew it, you guys. The second she started getting sick, I was like,
Tell Apollo is cleared to begin the assault. Boomer, Galactica Actual. I have complete faith in the both of you.
We won't let you down.
okay. I'm a little worried for Boomer because I just worry for her.
This may not be the safest place. There is room in the cargo hold to find refuge there with the other civilians. This is my choice.
See, I like her.
We stand with our president.
I like you too, Billy. I'm pretty sure that's your name. I'm sorry if it's not. I think she just said it though.
Security commander reports sounds of someone cutting through the hull.
Yeah. I really disagree with this, these actions, right? Kilo and Sharon, right? They were right here. They were hiding though, right? Until sundown. So she has to go to Athena's tomb, I believe. Okay, good girl. Good girl. I was gonna say I do not know that I could do that, but like in order to survive, I probably could. I just wouldn't love it. Although I don't really have a problem with needles. It's just the whole stabbing myself thing that I would have issue with.
Think this thing is working?
Hope so.
We're about to find out.
I mean, it was working for Starbuck. Now, the question is, do these Cylon Raider ships have the capacity to recognize beyond the signal that the ship looks different? So far, it doesn't seem like it, but we'll see.
I guess so. Yeah.
Otherwise, you would be dead. Oh, there's so many. Oh my god. That guy definitely died.
It's not responding, sir.
Are you even trained to use this thing?
I'm getting a little bit snippy. I can understand, though.
Get those wounds like that, Chief.
Is he in charge down here?
Get to the high ground. It'll be our best chance of being seen by a search party.
High ground's also our best chance of being seen by the Cylons.
Facts.
That's true.
Yeah.
Suggest that we take cover somewhere where we won't be seen from the air.
Okay, yeah, Chief, that's... Carry on, Chief.
Why is he being so snippy? I mean, I understand that's a traumatic event, but he's just trying to ensure that you keep surviving. We don't know his character enough to, like, for me to try to guess at, like, why he's making the choices he's making and
Launch the nuke and prepare to jump.
why he's feeling the way he's feeling about things.
What?
Yeah.
Bomb release is jammed.
Really? What? That is such bad timing. Like, are you kidding?
We can dock inside the ship. We can release the bomb manually, drop the nuke inside the ship itself.
But you'll die. Right? I mean, I think that was Adama's plan already, but he said to dock, I feel like. She's got like the white,
Alive.
like the halo glow.
You saved my life.
Care to return the favor?
You in need of saving.
Right?
Why God chose you above all other humans to survive and serve his purpose? Now's the time to find out why.
I'm interested and curious about why as well. Are we just letting him wander off, Chief? Anyone? Can we pay attention to Gaius? Can we notice that he's wandering off? He's just gone. Oh, yeah, those little guns are not going to work against military-grade weaponry.
The president says she will not yield.
The president says she will not yield.
God, I really hope Adama doesn't do something stupid. I really hope it.
So be it.
Adama, do not make this choice.
Tell me he's not actually gonna do this.
Tell me she's not gonna make him do it.
She's not making him do it. People make their own choices. I'm sorry. Like, I hate when people say that. Don't make me do that. Take responsibility for your own action.
Billy.
He put the phone down, hun. If anything, I hope that Adama would like arrest her. I mean, I hope he doesn't do anything because I'm just very against like military intervention. I'm just against military-led society, honestly. That's so loud, though. There was literally a hole on the top. I don't know how you would have gotten there, to be fair. It'd be funny if she had to, like, take the whole hand and everything, too, because she couldn't get it on. I thought I heard people, but I think I just... No, I heard people. I heard people.
Pretty, isn't it?
Okay, Hilo. Sharon, I need you. Hilo. Damn, 6 is fast. She's wearing black here. That's interesting. I mean, I think she's been wearing black here, but I'm just noticing all the different colors and wondering if there's a, you know, pattern to it that I should be noticing. The big ship looks, it's got like human parts as well, right? That's interesting. Very interesting design. I wonder if it would like feel the ship setting down on it, you know? You would feel if something landed on you.
I'll release the bomb. Close the hatch after me. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just go. You got it.
Boomer. Oh, that was just the hatch shutting. Okay. I'm like overly paranoid of every single noise. Okay, Sharon, Hilo, now would be a great time to show up.
Welcome back to Caprica, Lieutenant. Like what we've done with the place?
Nah, I mean, it's not really my personal decoration choices, but, you know, to each their own. Oh, God. such like a nonchalant, like, it was great. Oh God, oh gosh. Oh, Hilo, Boomer, or Sharon, excuse me. Oh, there's too much happening at the same time. It's always stressful. Lee, no, Ty, yeah, Ty and Lee. Okay. Hurry. Back in the ship, 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 back in the ship. Girl, don't follow her. Don't follow her. But also don't leave. Oh God. Boomer, you're stressing me out. I'm really scared there's gonna be a jump scare. Oh, it's her. It's naked her. Oh, it's a bunch of naked hers. Think she's like becoming aware that she's a Cylon? Or no? Sure. Oh God, is that girl gonna see it? Are they even really there? They're going from scene to scene to scene to scene. It's a lot. Boomer, Hilo, I really need you to become more aware of what's happening at the frickin' Delphi Museum. Okay, 6, I love you, but I really don't want you hurting Starbuck, please. Okay, can we stop? Can we stop? It's a bit much for me. Is she gonna break the arrow? She's gonna break it, right? There they are. No, don't get stabbed. Oh God. You know.
Starbuck?
Yes. Honestly, Hilo, I'm not judging, but I just feel like you could have done a little something before that happened, you know, with your freaking weapon that you're holding.
I'm placing you under arrest.
Lee, can we be the voice of reason?
No, we're not doing this. Colonel, this is wrong.
Yes.
You're relieved.
He's no.
Madam President.
Colonel, tell these Marines to fall back.
Lee.
Mutiny, you know that.
He's making his own choices.
You can tell my father that I'm listening to my instincts. Yes. My instincts tell me that we cannot sacrifice our democracy just because the president makes a bad decision.
Yes, Yes, Lee, yes. This is why I love you.
Put your guns down. I will not have bloodshed. Neither your men nor my people. Put your gun down. All of them.
I love both of them. But I agree with him. Military is not a good ruling body. It's just not what the military should do, in my opinion.
Let's go.
I feel like this just proves that Laura and Lee are the reasonable, logical ones, and that we should listen to them.
It's okay.
Okay, you done?
I'm not a Cylon.
You are, but it's okay.
You can't fight destiny, Sharon.
I mean, I
Don't worry about us.
don't know if I believe in destiny.
We'll see you again. We love you, Sharon.
All right.
And we always will.
A bit weird. Okay, it's just in her mind, right? Like, those people weren't actually there.
Go back! Don't turn around!
I don't think they're really there. Oh, wait, maybe they really are there. She's gonna turn it off or get rid of it somehow. Or is it gonna work? Okay, but I guess, like, most of them don't fear death,
Said to tell you
right?
he was following his instincts.
I mean, he explained to you what it meant.
What about Rosalind?
Put her in the break.
Adama, I'm just not agreeing with you. Maybe that's an unpopular choice, opinion. Now Hilo and Sharon can get on the ship. Did she die? Did she land on something stabby? She did. But does that mean that Starbuck landed on it? She had to have been stabbed too.
You okay?
Did you see the rebar? It's sticking far enough out that she would have been stabbed with it too, right?
Oh, I missed you.
Am I crazy? She gonna be confused.
Jesus,
No! You can't! She's pregnant!
Okay, so that's his line. Great. I think we just need to grab the arrow.
I know this place.
Can I just
Of course you do.
repeat that? Nobody's following him?
Go inside.
But there's not really anywhere actually there. Is she gonna make him see something else? She is. It'd be funny if he like walks and then he like, because there's not actually steps or anything.
I don't understand.
Life has a melody, guys. A rhythm of notes that become your existence once played in harmony with God's plan.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Realize your destiny.
What is his destiny?
Which is what exactly?
Yeah.
You are the guardian and protector of the new generation of God's children.
Is he?
First member of our family will be with us soon.
Talking about Sharon and Hilo's baby?
It's time to make your choice.
But I don't understand what you're talking about.
See the face of the shape of things to come.
I'm also quite confused, guys, TBH. I mean, I think she wants you to choose between humans and Cylons, but is it a baby?
Isn't she beautiful, guys?
Can you show me what they were looking at? No? Okay.
Close.
Here's my issue. Who then decides if the military is making bad choices? I'm not saying the president should be without consequences for actions, obviously, but what's the checks and balances for the military? You know, if you don't put him in the brig, it's clear favoritism, nepotism, one might even say.
Congratulations. Carried out a very difficult and dangerous mission, and you did it despite any personal misgivings you may or may not have had. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That is not what I thought was about to happen. I mean, he won't necessarily die from that, right? Okay. I don't want him to. I like Adama. I just was personally disagreeing with his choices in that moment. Oh, they got to her. Oh, that's a lot of blood. Oh, that's a lot of blood. They got to her. The naked hers. Oh, I think Adama might be dead. Fuck. Oh my god, you guys. I was about to say that better not be the cliffhanger. These shows, they always make me eat my fucking words. You know, he's not necessarily dead, right? I almost missed it because I was rolling my eyes at what he said. I'm so sad. I really like Adama. And here's the thing, you guys. I really like Adama. Like, even though I don't necessarily agree with his decisions in this episode, I also don't necessarily fully agree with the president's decisions in this episode. I think that there is danger in both governmental overreach, like by the president, by members of Congress, by, you know, whatever the system you have in place. I think that that can be very dangerous if there's no system of checks and balances in place. But I also think that military control with no system of checks and balances in place can also be very dangerous. I think the two can coexist and they can both be true at the same time, you know? Of course, that's the thing, right? It's like, it's why you need systems of checks and balances in place. It's why you need consequences for overreach. It's just, oh, you guys, okay. I'm gonna try not to cry, but it's actually very hard right now. If I just live in denial, that'll be much easier. Adama's fine, you know? 'Tis but a flesh wound. Not womb. That's a whole different thing. I'm sorry, you guys. Like, there was so much that I want to talk about in this episode, and like, now I'm just sad. I know that I said I wanted a cliffhanger, but that's really not what I had in mind. I don't want to harp too much on, oh god, the fact that Lee was there too. Like, the fact that Lee watched that happen, like, god, it breaks my heart. God, sorry. I was like, oh, we're gonna move on. We're not moving on. I was really proud of Lee in this episode. I'm proud of him when he stands up for what he thinks is right, regardless of what consequences he may face. I'm glad, particularly when he stands up for what's right in the face of his father, because I think that for Lee, like, Adama being disappointed in him is like worse than whatever military consequences, sorry, that he might face. I mean, what he did was very dangerous. I mean, we know Adama's not going to do anything to him for it, but still, I like that he's willing to stand up for what he thinks is right, regardless of the consequences. I don't agree with Adama at the end, right before he got shot but did not die. That's what I have to believe right now, you guys. Because he was trying to make a point to Lee, right? Like, you might not have agreed with it or whatever, but you did it anyway. You followed orders. And, excuse me, that's something that I think is very dangerous about, I think it's very dangerous to tell people that they should always follow orders regardless of what their personal morality is. Like, I understand in the military, there is a rank, there's a hierarchy, and you have to follow orders. Like, that's just the way it goes. Like, I get that. I don't have to agree with it. I think that your individual morality should matter, and you shouldn't betray your individual morality to do what somebody else tells you to do. And I know whenever I say things like this, people are like, thank God that you're not in the military, or thank God that you don't have any position of power or whatever. And you know what? There's a reason I never signed up for the military, you guys. I'm not harping on people in the military. I think that they do the best that they can in horrific, traumatizing, horrible situations oftentimes. And I think that they should be respected for what they give up and what they do. I don't always have to agree with it. I respect them for the choices that they make. But yeah, just you can disagree respectfully, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I know a lot of people might disagree, but you know, that's fine. Like, we're all different people. We have different perspectives and different moralities. And, you know, that's okay. Morality is a scale, you know? And just because my particular morality doesn't match up with yours, like, that's not a bad thing on you or me. It's just, you know, the fact that we're different people and we have different beliefs about things. So I'm writing Adama is alive because, again, I think you guys can indulge me my possible delusion, because you don't want me to spend this entire post-episode discussion crying, right? So that's not really beneficial for you or me or my takeaways and ideas about the show. So I do want to say, I'm trying to figure out where I want to start with everything else that happened. I understand that Six was telling Gaius, she was saying he had a choice to make, right? So I think that her choice, right, is, are you going to protect the future of humanity? Which, in my opinion, what I think she's saying is human Cylon hybrids, right? The next generation of humans and the next generation of Cylons are, you know, Sharon and Hilo's baby and, you know, that sort of thing. That's what I think. We didn't see what was in the crib. I'm not entirely sure there actually was anything, because everything that she was showing him was a fabrication, right? It wasn't actually physically there. It was a projection of what she wanted to show him. And obviously Sharon and Hilo's baby is not born yet. So if it is indeed the first of a new generation, it would have to be a projection that she's showing him, not anything that's actually tangibly there, which again, she wasn't showing him anything that was tangibly there. Even she is not tangibly there. So, but I think that the question she was asking him was, pick your side, Cylons or humans, or Cylon human hybrid, right? Like, I'm not exactly sure. I really like Six. I think that she is a fascinating character. I think that she genuinely loves Gaius. I think that she genuinely believes in her mission. I think she genuinely has faith. And I think that everything that she says, like, she actually thinks. Like, I don't think that she's putting on a show. I don't think that she's, I mean, except for that one episode. But I think that she's genuine in what she thinks and feels and everything. And a part of me wants to root for her because I do have a lot of conflict about the Cylons, you know, and whether or not they are inherently the bad guys, right? And I know a lot of comments have sort of questioned my idea about that because in the beginning of the entire thing, they do commit mass genocide, right? Again, I think it's more complicated than that because they were rebelling against a people that saw them as less than, right? And so I think there's definitely wiggle room in there. Obviously, I don't agree with mass genocide. I think that should be obvious. But I think that when you look at the Cylons as a new race of people that have been abused and tormented by their captors, you can kind of see their side of it, right? To an extent, right? But I like that the fact that the show doesn't say necessarily that like humanity is inherently good, right? It's a mix. Cylons are not inherently bad. It's a mix, right? Like some Cylons, yes, bad. Some Cylons fight against that and aren't necessarily bad. I just appreciate the gray area that everybody in the show can exist in, right? Because you can see different perspectives, right? In most conversations, you can see perspectives, right? And people's feelings and thoughts are valid. Like even Sharon, this whole season, even though, or Boomer, we saw her struggle so much with herself, and obviously at the end she was used by the Cylons as an instrument to hurt Adama, hopefully just hurt, but she's not inherently bad. Like, you know what I mean? There's many times that we've seen that she's fought against that. Now, if we want to say that the Cylons could be inherently bad, we could see it as a struggle that the Cylons placed upon her for her to then overcome so that she could be in the right place at the right time to do what they wanted her to do, right? Like that's a much more cynical view than I usually take on things, but we could argue it, right? I don't know. I don't want to see it in that cynical way, but it is a possibility that I think that we have to explore, which then again brings into question, like, are the Cylons inherently bad? Sharon seems to actually love Hilo, but is that, again, a means to an end? Because we know that that was initiated as for a purpose, the human Cylon hybrids. So maybe I'm wrong, you know? Maybe people aren't as gray, or Cylons aren't as gray as I'm giving them credit for, but I think that they are. I think that Six's portrayal, I think the emotions that Trisha Helfer has placed into Six, you see the struggle. You see how she cares for Gaius. You see her struggling throughout the season to sort of grapple with just how she feels about him and how that affects her. Yeah, I don't know. Of course, again, if we're going to look at it from like the super cynical point of view, is she just manipulating Gaius to get him to do what she wants, portraying emotions without actually feeling them to further her agenda? You know, like, I don't know. I would hope not, because I do find a lot of intrigue and interest in their relationship, but it is a possibility, again, that I think we kind of have to explore. I will say that And I said it a few times in the reaction, but I just find it funny that Gaius is literally just like wandering off. Nobody's seeing it. And unless we just didn't see somebody seeing it, right? But there's literally only like 5, I think, other people besides him, one of which is like incapacitated at the present time. So you would think that you would be able to be like, head count. Wow, we're missing one. Where the fuck did he go? Look around. There's not a lot of cover. Follow. Again, maybe they did, and I just haven't seen it yet, but we'll see going into next season, I guess. I do also like that it's like the Delphi Museum. I think I'm saying that right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that it's been a while since I've been in school, but I remember learning about like the Oracle at Delphi and all of that stuff. So I think that it's cool that they're bringing a lot of that into it as well. Something that I found very interesting was Hilo was incredibly aggressive towards Sharon for most of the episode. Like, he literally tried to kill her in the last episode. And he was very aggressive towards her in this episode, saying like, oh, I don't even really love you. I loved like the idea of you, essentially, right? And one, I don't think that's true, because she is exactly who you thought she was. She's just also a Cylon. Like, none of her actions, none of her thoughts, none of her feelings have changed. There's just an added layer that you didn't know about. So I think that like you do actually love her, not like who you thought she was, because who you thought she was is her, if that makes sense. What I find interesting is, and I think that's a valid response, by the way, like I even wrote like his feelings are super valid, you know, like I think that if you learned that the person that you loved was actually a Cylon who is like your enemy, who you've been raised to hate, it would definitely complicate your feelings, right? And I think that that's a valid response to the situation of learning that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with him feeling that way. I don't think that he's in the wrong in any way. I just, I also, like, I watched Westworld before this, right? So I kind of like to look at the Cylon, like I look at the Cylons with a more sympathetic lens, perhaps, than maybe they were initially intended. So therefore I look at Sharon with a very sympathetic lens. So yeah, I can see her perspective and I can see his perspective, and I think both perspectives are valid. What I thought was interesting though was she was pregnant, like I thought, and that immediately shifted his interactions with her, right? Because we didn't see him after that revelation until the situation with Starbuck, which I will talk about. But he immediately like stopped Starbuck from hurting her and was like, you can't, she's pregnant. Is that indicative of Hilo's feelings regarding her having a baby? Like, is he just attached because he's like, that's my baby, like please don't hurt her because she has my baby? Or is it like, again, maybe a more cynical view, is it him like, she's pregnant, we could like study the baby at some point and like figure out stuff? I don't know. Or is it just complicated his initial feelings, because that would complicate your feelings, you know? I think that would be a valid response as well. I did talk about this briefly in the episode, but I do wonder if the different outfits that 6 is in, like the different colors in particular, are meant to signify different things. Because like on Caprica, she's in black. It's like she's hardcore, she's military, she's not military, but like that's kind of the feeling that you get from her in the tank and the pants on Caprica fighting Starbuck. And then in all the white, and she's like the extra bright lighting and like she's talking about God and she's like angelic, and there's this sort of idea of that behind it. And then when she's in red, when they're having sex, I mean, they had sex when she was in more than red, but a lot of the more seductive sort of scenes, she's in red. So just food for thought. Like, I know a lot of shows like to play around with colors. If you watch Breaking Bad and stuff, like colors are definitely signifiers for certain things, especially in like Christianity. White in particular is like this idea of like innocence and purity, right? Like that's why people originally or traditionally wore like white wedding dresses, to signify like purity, which I'm not going to go into a spiel, but like I'm not going to talk about it. But that's like the sort of idea, right? So I'm curious if that has anything to do with it, you know? I do think that it's interesting that when Boomer, sorry, you guys told me that like it's easier to differentiate like Caprica, Sharon, Battlestar Galactica, Boomer, right? So I'm trying to like help y'all differentiate who I'm talking about. I think it's interesting that when Boomer's seeing all the naked boomers, right? And just grappling with that and having them talk to her, which was very trippy, like weird, like, we love you, we always will. Like, that was very strange. But obviously being on the ship and talking to them and having that experience did something to her that then made her shoot Adama. So that's interesting. I'd really be interested to see, and hopefully they go into it in season 2, like what went through her mind? Like, why did she do that? And why did she do it right then? Is it part of a bigger plan that's just falling into place, or like what? I'm still curious about what Gaius and Six were looking at, but again, I speculated. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. I think I already talked a lot about I talked about like the checks and balances, right? And like military, dangerous to be in charge. The president without checks and balances, also dangerous. But I don't know, it's like, I don't agree with either of them, really. I mean, I think that it's more dangerous. It can be more dangerous to have like a military state. So that's what I was thinking during the episode, right? I'm just like, we don't need a military state because that is usually very dangerous, right? So while I don't think Adama would like abuse it, and I don't think that he would be a bad ruler or whatever, you know, I also think that it's just, it's dangerous and it's scary, the idea of like a military state, right? So that's what I was pushing back against in the episode. It's not that I have an issue with Adama personally. You guys know I love Adama. If not, you should. I adore him. But I just don't love the idea of a military state. Maybe that's just a personal thing, you know? Like I said, like, I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about Starbuck. Am I a freaking idiot? Question I have. When we saw Starbuck get off of Six, there was a piece of rebar, pipe, whatever it was, stuck through her, right? Stuck through Six. It was sticking out like this much. Like this much. It did not penetrate, sorry, that's maybe not the best word, but it didn't like hit Starbuck at all, because she landed like right on top of her with the force of that. I don't know. I thought I was confused by that, because I was like, oh my gosh, is Starbuck gonna like what's happening? Like, she needs some medicine. She needs like some Healy stuff, you know. But she was uninjured by it. I don't know. If it was sticking up like this far, I would understand. But there was a large piece of it still sticking up, where Starbuck would have landed. I'm curious as to what's gonna happen now, because presuming that Starbuck and Hilo and Sharon get back on the Raider, go back to the Galactica. I mean, everybody knows, I assume, that Boomer is a Cylon now. But what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? You know, just like, how are they gonna navigate that going forward? Is Adama okay? Like, who's gonna, if not, does that mean that Ty, because he's like the XO, right? So would that mean that he would be in command? That's kind of, I like Ty, but I don't know that he should be in charge. Just so you guys know, I will not look up any spoilers, but the temptation to like look up just to see if Adama is okay is very overwhelming for me in this moment. I'm not going to. I'll be good. I'll wait until I watch the next episode. But yeah, I just really want him to be okay. You know? Just kind of need it. I'm gonna think about this for like the rest of the night and probably cry more. Like, I'm gonna be so upset. I laughed to stop from crying. I think that's all that I have to say. There's probably more that I wanted to say. Wait, I just thought of something. Sorry. I liked Six's life has a melody. God turns it into a harmony, or you live and it becomes a harmony, and that. I don't know. It was an interesting way of looking at it, of framing life, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes she says things and I'm just like, that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. I don't know. I think that this was a really good ending to season 1. I think that it was a great cliffhanger. As much as it personally pains me and upsets me and stresses me out, like, the fact that I can, if I choose to, like, sit and watch it, the next episode right now or tomorrow or any time that isn't like months and months away, I know is a privilege that a lot of people who watched the show, well, everyone who watched the show when it was airing did not have. So I'm grateful for that. I know that I watched Sherlock as it was airing and had to wait 2 years after Reichenbach Fall to see what happened next. So I commiserate is essentially what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that the miniseries was great and intriguing and I loved it. Season 1 was very, very well written. I like how they included Hilo and Sharon on Caprica at the end. I like how that story ties into what's going on with Gaius and Six, I think. I like how it's just all like tying together. I think it's really great writing. I think the acting is really good. I love all the characters I think that I'm supposed to love, and I dislike the characters that I think I'm supposed to dislike. Do I dislike anybody? I guess just like Ellen, really. Is there another character that I like actively don't like? That's like a main cast member? I don't think so. But yeah, I think they do a really good job of developing the characters. I think, if anybody's curious, Starbuck, Lee, Laura, Adama, Boomer / Sharon are probably my favorites. I like Ty, I like Billy, I like Dee, I like Chief, I like Caitlin, I think is her name. I like Gaius, I like Six. I don't know, Gaius is probably one of my favorites as well, honestly, along with Six. But yeah, there's a lot of characters that I love and a lot of characters I like, and one character that I don't like. Well, Zarek, I'm like on the fence about, especially because he's like working with Ellen, so that kind of makes me like about him, you know. But yeah, no, I think that the I've talked about it many times before throughout the season 1. I think that the mirror that this show holds up to our society and our world is fascinating. I think that it's really telling that a lot of it is still so relevant so many years after this aired. I think it's sad that a lot of it is still so relevant so many years after it aired. You would hope that as a society we would be moving forward at a little bit more of a rapid pace insofar as like acceptance and understanding and compassion and all of that stuff. But I know that like 20 years, it's not even been a full 20 years, isn't that long in the span of like human civilization. So there's still hope for us yet, I guess. But yeah, I love this show. This show is what I think that great science fiction is, right? Like, it's holding the mirror up. It's showing us things that are like not really anything that we would encounter, but also completely what we would encounter, if that makes sense. Like, I think that great science fiction is a reflection of humanity and shows us at our best and our worst and challenges us to do better, you know? It's why I love Star Trek so much. It's why I love science fiction in general, you know? So, yeah, I think this show has all of the best qualities that I love in science fiction and that I think make science fiction such a great and worthwhile genre to watch. And I think that it has like, it doesn't have the optimism about humanity that Star Trek has. It has more of like the realistic view of humanity, I think, that like The Expanse has, which I don't think it's as disillusioned by humanity as something like The Expanse. I think it's like kind of a mixture. But I love it. I don't know. I really like it. Thank you to everybody who voted for it. I hope to see you all for season 2, which if you're watching this right now on YouTube, you can go ahead and watch season 2, episode 1 over on Patreon if you want. That will be linked in the description down below. You can also watch my entire full-length reaction to this episode and every single episode, plus the mini-series that I've seen so far, obviously. I can't go into the future. Not yet. Anyway, yeah, I think that I'm going to call it a night, and maybe I'm being delusional. It has happened before in shows where I've just flat out refused to accept that somebody died and been like, you know, they could be alive. I'm just going to hold out hope. So yeah, I'm going to hold out hope, and we'll see what season 2 brings. Anyway, I hope to see you guys there. Until then, bye guys.